Chancellor Wilson, President Gertler, distinguished members of the Platform Party, parents, guests, and most importantly, graduates. Hello to all of you. And can I tell you how wonderful you all look today? I know under those robes are some of your fanciest studs ever, and your hair looks great, but you also look happy and you look excited. And I can feel the energy of optimism and hope that's in the air. This is a very special day for you, and I'm so happy to be able to share it. When I graduated from Innis College, and yes, it was 1974, I could never have imagined nor predicted that one day, 42 years later, I would be on this stage to receive this wonderful honorary degree. Thank you. And have the opportunity to talk to you, our graduates. We certainly cannot predict our lives and where our lives might take us, and this is actually a wonderful thing. I came to Canada in 1956, a tall, gangly 8-year-old British girl with a plummy accent and buck teeth. My grade 3 classmates were quite merciless in their treatment of me. They laughed at my clothes. My mother thought it was prudent for me to wear my old English school uniform to my new class. They marveled at my odd vocabulary, and mostly they teased and mimicked me because of my accent. I was an outsider and a novelty in the small southern Ontario town of Paris. I was also one determined young girl and practiced hard in my bedroom at night to fix my accent and my vocabulary. My journey from small town Ontario to where I am today has been very complex, full of twists and turns, some of them by design and many by accident. But as I look back over my 68 years and join the dots, a pattern emerges, a pattern that I did not see as I lived it. And this is what I want to talk to you about today, the journey and not the destination. When I was at your age of life, it was the late 60s. It was the height of flower power, the sexual revolution. And yes, I was a hippie. My old British uniform was long gone and replaced with ripped bell-bottom jeans, peasant blouses, beads, and sandals. And as a good hippie, I was attracted to the lure of travel. So rather than pursue my post-secondary education, I convinced my skeptical and disappointed immigrant parents that the best education I could give myself was to delay my university studies for a year or so and take a solo trip working around the world. I was full of dreams, optimism, enthusiasm to embrace the unknown. My travels didn't take me very far. After 3 months working in my native England, I was involved in a horrible head-on collision with a double-decker bus. There were 3 of us in the car, and I was the only survivor. I had weeks of recuperation in England, and as my physical injuries were healing, I realized I had even deeper scars from my feelings of both survivor guilt and failure. When I finally made it back home, scars and all, I was too late to apply to universities for the fall. With no university options available to me, I found only one viable path, Teachers College. In those days, elementary school teachers only need 1 year of training. The college had space, I enrolled. While there, I could not stop being envious of my old high school friends. They would regale me with their thrilling stories of their university life, their sexual awakenings, their existential awakenings, the frat parties, the lectures, the protests. And I was in Teachers College, and I felt like a second-class citizen. I thought I was supposed to follow my dreams, and Teachers College did not feel like that. But as we go through life and circumstances change, our dreams can also change. Stephen Colbert put it well. If we'd all stuck to our first dreams, the world would be overrun by cowboys and princesses. So whatever your dream is right now, if you don't achieve it, you haven't failed. And that's what I was about to learn. As I slowly put aside my own feelings of failure, something magical happened. I fell in love. I fell in love with teenagers. I was attracted to their attitudes, their insecurities, their wry sense of humor, and their search for identity. Upon graduating from Teachers College, I got a job teaching junior high in the inner city. This was a real eye-opener for me, coming from a small, homogeneous town. My students were racially, economically, and sexually diverse. Many of them spoke English at school and another language at home. And I remembered back to my gangly 8-year-old self and the feelings I had of being alone and different. And yet my skin was white, and I spoke English. I had so much respect and compassion for my students. I wanted them to celebrate their diversity, not to try and hide it. I wanted to know their stories, and I wanted to share their stories. So in the middle of my teaching career, I took a sabbatical to complete my university degree. I enrolled in a very young Innes College and studied film courses with the wonderful Kay Armitage and Joe Medchuk. Through my studies and my practical work, I was developing the tools to help me tell my students' stories, and subconsciously, I was laying the groundwork for the Degrassi series. In total, I spent 8 years as a junior high teacher. Much as I loved my students, I had a growing desire to tell their stories to a larger audience. I was well aware that in those days, there were no television shows aimed at young people authentically portraying their lives. These were the stories I wanted to tell. Stories about young people navigating the tumultuous and exhilarating terrain of children becoming adults. So holding my breath, I found the courage to leave my very secure teaching job. I began my own independent production company and started to develop the television series that would become Degrassi. It was tough going at times, but ultimately extremely rewarding. One of the key building blocks of the Degrassi series from the earliest days is to advocate tolerance and empathy for individual differences and to reassure young people that they are not alone. It is my deep belief that bullying, whether in the schoolyard, the military, in residential schools, in the workplace, or in daily life, only exists due to ignorance. The more we can understand our individual differences, be it religious, philosophical, sexual, racial, physical, etc., the more we can exercise tolerance and compassion. And today, it is more true than ever. Ignorance of individual differences leads to a culture of fear, a culture that builds walls. And this is what I wish for you today, to make it your mission in life, to contribute to a culture that tears those walls down, that destroys barriers and embraces diversity. When I look back over my life experiences, I realize that despite accidents and reevaluated dreams, there has been a continuity of my attitude. Some might call it dogged determination, bullheadedness, but I prefer the more elegant term, passion. I've always been driven by a desire to be the best that I could be, whatever I'm doing. Working in a factory, which I did for many hours, volunteering in the community, teaching school, or producing shows. And this is my other wish for you. Passionately embrace what life's journey offers you. In preparation for this event, I had the privilege of having lunch with a number of graduate Innes students and your awesome principal, Charlie Kyle. As I was sharing a meal with Joy, Yagnish, Lamorna, and others, it became clear to me that you are all very passionate about your lives. Aaron and Tony are pretty sure that they will continue on their selected studies in mental health and finance, respectively. However, Amy, who studied art history, is considering work as a flight attendant. All of you are on different journeys, and this is all good. During our lunch, though, what impressed me even more than hearing about your academic pursuits was your innate sense of service. You have worked as dons, volunteered for the Residence Council, worked the front desk helping your fellow students, participated in Lifeline for Syria, and more. You understand that the needs of others are as important as your own. A wise man once said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." That was Plato over 2,000 years ago. He would be very proud of you. And you should be proud to be students graduating from this great University of Toronto. You have been provided not only with excellence in academia, but opportunities for student participation, innovation, and leadership. Take all of this with you. And as you move forward on your own unique journey in this time of digital revolution and uncertainty, give yourself permission, as I have had to recalibrate your dreams from time to time. Perceived obstacles can in fact be opportunities, and as the Degrassi theme song says, you will make it through. So I leave you with this thought. I encourage you to attack your life fearlessly. If you have passion to keep moving forward, and the kindness to embrace the diversity of your fellow travelers, you might not end up where you thought you would be, but you will end up where you are meant to be. Enjoy your journey. Thank you.